सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We have seen, in detail how the word Purusha is a Mahavakya, and when we are discussing a Mahavakya, then a lot of things have to be explained in detail, and we have been doing that, and so that's why it's a very Vistrita, very long and an involved explanation. And the explanation is long and involved because is as long and as involved as it needs to be in the Shastra. Why? Because as difficult, it is the long and the involved explanation is meant to counter the extensive difficulties that are raised by the antahkarana, by the mind and all its accoutrements into accepting this vision. Because it's a mind that is for many, many lifetimes devoted to division, not the vision. And so therefore, when the vision is presented, all the other contentions and the possibilities of not accepting this vision and not understanding this vision have to be outlined in order to, dismiss all the things, that can stand in the way of assimilating this vision. And so we have seen here Purusha Samgyaha, and we have also seen another word, Prati Purushaha. So this is what makes it a Mahavakya. So one, the cause here, Bhagavan is called Purusha. Samgyaha means called. Yeah, so Bhagavan is called Purushaha. Which Purushaha we have already seen two derivations. The one that is everything, the one that fills up everything without becoming any one thing. So that is Purushaha, that is Bhagavan. And who is this Jiva? This Jiva is what? This Jiva is Pratipurushaha. So Pratipurushaha doesn't mean baby Purusha or a little part of the Purusha or a little, sliver or a spark of the Purusha. It means the whole Purusha, but, that Purusha which is coming through an Upadhi. Upadhi means what? A body-mind complex that is what? A body-mind complex that is as though becoming a a cause for some perceived limitation. So this, we have seen the examples of the same Mahadipa, a big lamp. What is this lamp? The lamp flowing through various apertures. And then if the light of the lamp is coming through a star-shaped aperture, then the light that is thrown on the wall is star-shaped. And then maybe the next aperture is round, and then you have a round-shaped light beam. So the light beam, small, big, and even a pin-sized light beam, cannot be, it does not in any way, dull the brilliance of the lamp, and neither can you question the fact that it's little part of the lamp. You cannot make such things. There's only one lamp. All that is there is lamp. And, and so therefore, this is the whole, thing. All that is there is one Mahadeepa, and that Deepa is coming through various apertures. We saw the Dakshinamurti Stotram. And so just because one aperture is like a pin-sized aperture, like, in the olden days you had those pinhole cameras that you used to make, to do some experiments, etc., or to watch the eclipse with the help of this homemade pinhole camera. So the light of the sun or the lamp coming through a pinhole is not a part of that light. It is the same light. So the pinhole becomes what is called an adjunct or a namarupa that seems to be constricting the light, but it's not really constricting the light. This is what is pratipurushaha. And the example I gave is that if the sun is, what's the word for it, reflected in a big mirror, it's still whole, or you bring a small mirror and keep it under the sun and it is still whole. It's not that in the small mirror or in the small water pot only 1/4, like a pizza slice of the sun is reflected. So therefore we are talking of the whole, and this is what is meant by understanding the mithyatvam. Mithyatvam means the dependent reality status of this whole jagat. So this saha eva eshaha. So first, you see, it unfolds very, very beautifully. Let us look at the whole mantra. So we know that we have covered it because we've taken a long time to do it. So we'll sum up till pratipurushaha and then take up Kshetragjñaḥ. So when you say, when the mantra says saha, in the beginning, it is talking about what? It's not talking about Bhagavan. It is talking about what? Atma. That which was described in number 4 as Sve Mahimni Tishtati. That consciousness, Atma, as that self, as that consciousness, Sukshmaha, Agrahyaha, Adrishyaha, and then suddenly what? That consciousness is revealed as Bhagavan. Oh, now this is taken a turn, yes, a big and a sudden turn. And the Vanakilyas, because they are so prepared, they have, what should I say, they have great emotional maturity and preparation. They don't need all this explanation perhaps, because suddenly it's talking about that consciousness which inheres this body-mind complex. Talking about Brahman or Atma, and then suddenly from Atma there is a big jump. And what is that jump? Purusha Samgyaha. What is this Atma called? It is Bhagavan. Oh my God, yes. and this Bhagavan creates, and you have all kinds of desires. Bhagavan doesn't have any kind of desires, and therefore what? So how does Bhagavan create without desires? How does this Atma, aka Bhagavan, now known as Bhagavan, create without desires? We saw that. And because it has the same, the intentionality is just for the ragadveshas of the jiva to be created, for a place, for the ragadveshas to play, a place to be created. And so, then what? Amshena and Pratipurushaha, again, very deadly, words. They have to be handled carefully. Too hot to hold. You need a pair of Shastra tongs. They are like live coals of words. You need a pair of tongs of the Shastra to pick them up. Like the fire, when you are in the fireplace, you are moving the logs and the pieces of coal around so that it lights up evenly. So what do? You can't put your hand in the fire and move the pieces of burning ember. You need a pair of tongs. Here also amshena vartate amshena chetam achaha. Then those are like live coals, and so they have to be handled properly with the pair of Shastra tongs. The teaching becomes the tongs here to see that these words, amsha, repeating twice doesn't mean small fragment, part, spark or sliver. It just means that the intentionality which is being discussed on part of both the jiva in sleep and then what? Ishvara prior to creation is, is just that intentionality, is being discussed, and that intentionality is not a big agenda, but more of a decision that has just gone into a causal form, and that causal form here is called Amsha. And then after Bhagavan, now it jumps back. First it starts with Atma, that consciousness. Then it talks about how this Atma is Bhagavan, Mahavakya. And then it comes back to Pratipurushaha. It comes back to that Atma which is quote unquote reflected in this body, mind, sense complex. That same Bhagavan. That same Bhagavan is Purushaha. And what are you? Pratipurushaha. So reflected within quotes, or you can say avachinna chaitanya, dehatma, deha karyakarana sanghata avachinna chaitanya. So the consciousness that is as though entered this karyakarana sanghata. So karya is the body, mind, sense complex, sanghata complex. So this consciousness has as though, we can't say it has really entered, because then there would be no limitlessness, because it is occupying this body and the body is finite, and so you can't say it has entered. So that's why really there are no words, to explain it without using heavy quotes all the time. I always joke that for the Vedanta teacher, the hands get stuck like this because you have to do this so many times. As though, and as though Pratipurushaha, as though Amshaha, everything is as though. And this as though is our bread and butter, because that is what is life-saving. Because and we have discussed this earlier, if bondage is real, Shastra becomes useless. Shastrasya anarthakyam syat. It becomes nirarthaka, no reason for Shastra to exist. Because, but doesn't Shastra remove bondage? Yes, but it removes a notional bondage. It removes a bondage that is purely notional. So it removes the notion of bondage, not the ocean of bondage. So if bondage is real, it cannot be removed. And if bondage is, you say, unreal, it need not be removed. Then also Shastra is useless. So therefore, what do we have to say? We have to say as though. So the same Bhagavan now occupying this, this body-mind complex becomes what is called Pratipurushaha, is known by a new epithet, Pratipurushaha, and that's why the names have to keep changing. First you see something, and then in the Chandogya it is called Bhuma, in somewhere else it is called, Chaitanya, somewhere else it is called Chitihi. Like this, Samvit, Esha, Samvit, so all these words are needed so that the mind doesn't get jaded and catch on to one particular definition at the cost of everything else. And so that's why this is very, very important to understand and assimilate. So Pratipurushaha, and now we have another bombshell, Kshetragjñaḥ, another Mahavakya. The word Kshetragjñaḥ is itself a Mahavakya, and I told you yesterday that we will just go over the initial couple of verses in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where this will shed light on the term Kshetragjñaḥ. First, the meaning of the term itself we have to see. Kshetra means a field. It can be a field of experience. It can be a, it's a field of experience. It's a, it's some kind of a place, a location. Kshetra is location. And in Sanskrit we have this wonderful mechanism of adding a suffix to denote the agent. So kshetram janati iti, the one who knows kshetra. So how many words is that? 3 words. Kshetram janati iti, the one who knows kshetra or the field. But then janati iti, the word janati is condensed into what? Gyaha. Gyaha masculine, gya feminine. So kshetragjñaḥ means the one who knows kshetra. And we have this every day. Khagaha, khe gacchati, gacchati iti gaha. So the word goes, gacchati is shortened to gaha or ga. Khaga means the one who goes in space. Khe gacchati iti gaha. Sarvam janati iti sarvajñaḥ. Alpam janati iti alpajñaḥ, the one who knows everything, all knowing, all gyaha. Alpam janati, small knowing, small gyaha. Field knowing, field gyaha. So this gyaha means knower. It's an agent noun, kshetragjñaḥ, which is very much in the custom in Sanskrit to do this, to do this shortening of the verb as a suffix. There are certain, customs that regulate that. So this, this word kshetra itself is an intriguing word, and it has at least 4 meanings. This is Sanskrit for us. It has at least 4 meanings. 1 or 2, many words have, but this one has 4 meanings. 4 possible meanings are there. One is called kshatam trayati, or kshatat trayati. Trayati protects. Protects from what? Kshata. Kshata means decline, fall. Kshata means fall. So kshatat trayate, you can say that which is the cause of protection from fall. Patanat. Kshata means patanam. And what kind of patanam and all, what kind of fall, we will see. So that's the first derivation. Kshatat trayate iti, what's the word now? Kshetra. Okay. And then the other meaning is kshayat kshetraha. Kshaya means what? Due to destruction. Due to destruction, it is called kshetra. Second meaning. And then ksharanat kshetraha. Ksharanat means due to disintegration, it is called kshetra. Then finally, what was the last one? Oh, yeah. Kshetram iva kshetra. Kshetram iva, which means as though it is a real field, as though it is a field. Okay. So there are so many derivations, and as I said, 4 meanings possible. I'm sure that we can even, those who are good in Sanskrit can come up with a few more vyutpattis, derivations, but these are what are classically thought of. But then what is this kshetra? Kshetra means a field. So the farmer who cultivates the field is called, the farmer's field that is cultivated is called kshetra. Correct? Yeah, so the farmer's field is kshetra, and this kshetra has a number of meanings. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, it is got a specific meaning. And for that, we have to see what? We have to see the first verse after the question in the 13th chapter. And the first verse in the 13th chapter is what? Idam shariram kaunteya. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidhiyate yo yad veti tam prahuhu kshetragjñaḥ iti tadvidah. So the opening answer to the question asked by Arjuna right at the beginning is what? What is this Kshetra? What is this Kshetragjñaḥ? Is his question. And this question looks like a later interpolation because Adi Shankara does not comment on it. But that doesn't matter. That's a small thing here. But what is of import is Bhagavan Krishna's answer. Bhagavan's answer here is all telling because he says this Kshetra. What do we talk about when we say Kshetra? Idam Shariram. This body is Kshetra. What? Oh Arjuna, this body itself is Kshetra. And this body is, this body is called Kshetra. And this body is what, we have to deal with. We have to deal with this body because that is what is the Kshetra. And there is also the one who knows this body. The knower of this body is called Kshetragjñaḥ. Grammatically it's perfect. Kshetra and Kshetragjñaḥ. Kshetram janati. And, this, the word this body is used for what? The word this, the preposition this is used for something that is very much, not removed from oneself. This body, right here, right now, this body is called Kshetra, and then what? Yo tad vetti, the one who knows this, tam ahuhu, tam prahuhu, they call these knowers Kshetragjñaḥ. So, this body is a field, and Tadvidaha means Kshetragjñaḥ. The one who knows this is called Kshetragjñaḥ. Kshetra also means a kind of a holy or sacred place. Like, supposing in India, people are going on a pilgrimage, so they will say, I'm going to this Kshetra, a holy place. And so this body becomes what? A holy place, because the same word is used. And if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, there is an abiding presence of the word Kshetra. You look at the opening verse, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayu Yutsavaha. So, what is happening? O Sanjaya, the blind king Dhritarashtra is asking because he cannot see. And Sanjaya has what? Sanjaya was the original television. He had television. And so he could, even though he was removed from the battlefield, he could give a live commentary, an audio commentary on what he saw. And that's how they got the idea of sportscasters who are sitting in the booth and giving commentary on what they see, for the rest of the people who can't see everything. That's how they, so Sanjaya was the original live commentator on this sport called war, which was really not a sport, so to speak. And so he was giving this commentary, and he was, the Bhagavad Gita opens with the word Kshetra. That is how important it is. Dharma Kshetra. In this Punya Bhumi, which is a Karma Kshetra, where all the, how is Punya Bhumi means in this holy land, which is full of Dharma, which is also where people work and get their karmas and get the results of their karma, what is happening? Kurukshetra, Karma Kshetra, what is going on? Where are all the assembled people in the battlefield? What are they doing? Oh Sanjaya, tell me in detail. And this can be also metaphorically understood. The Dharma as the battlefield raging within one's own body, mind, sense complex. And there are so many battles going on between Dharma and Adharma. I know this is right, but I really want to do this. I really want to get married. Okay, get married, it's not wrong. Yeah, but the person of interest happens to be married. Oh, no, that's not such a good thing because you're causing himsa. No, but I really want to get married. This is a battle, you know. So, I mean, the world is full of so many kinds of people. Can't you choose somebody else? No, I want this person only. There is a raging battle. I know this is wrong, but I want to get rich quickly, and this person has some kind of a hedgy scheme. That's why it's called hedge fund. You know, and I know it's not quite above par, but I'm going to do this. And this man also has a terrible reputation. But you know, if this comes out in the open, he'll only get caught. I will just be an innocent victim. So I'm just going to invest in this. You know, but no, that's not correct. Yeah, so this is the battle between dharma and adharma. That conflict is what is, and in this body, which is called, karma kshetra, where, one has the ability to earn papa and punya. And this kshetra here, first we have to understand as referring only to the human body and by extension to other bodies. Why only to the human body? Because it's only, let's take the last meaning first from the derivation here. What was the last meaning? Kshetram iva kshetram. So this body resembles a cultivable field. So the field is all barren and fallow. It is just lying there without the possibility of, feeding you or doing anything. And so what do you have to do? You have to till the land, you have to work hard, sweat and blood, toil, and then after that you have to water. If there is no rain, you have to bring some pipes and, and put it and then water it. Then you have to sow the seeds. Then you have to clip out all the, weeds and other competing things for that water and the resources. Then you have to nourish it by all kinds of, manure and, urea, nitrogen, all these things so that it grows nicely. And then after that, what happens? You have to put one scarecrow there. Or you dress up scarily and stand like this so that all the birds which have ideas, the birds say, oh, lunch, let me just go and peck at this, And one follows and all of them come together. It's not that just one bird comes and pecks and goes and, all of them, the whole lot of come. And then sometimes birds are harmless. Then there is a whole, just before you harvest, there's a whole locust that comes, the locust invasion. And that is something to watch. The whole sky becomes dark. There are that many of them. It's almost like an eclipse. In fact, it is seen as a bad omen when you see a field being destroyed by locusts. Because, when you see them coming, it's a bad omen because, for reasons that we will presently see, because, if this body is like a field, then the coming of the locusts is like something that is taking away all the punya. Some big, problem is going to come that all the punya is going to go bye-bye and so the storehouse of punya is threatened. So that's why it is seen as a bad omen. So now going back to the field, the analogy of the field. So then you have to, then you have to harvest the crop. You have to winnow the crop, separate the chaff from the grain. And if you are from Oregon, you will throw away the grain, eat the chaff. This is what they do. Yeah. Go to even a regular supermarket in Oregon. And then there is some, right next to the wheat, there is, wheat flakes or these wheat germ or whatever it is, the chaff. That is because that has a lot of vitamins. So this is what the whole thing is. And then finally, you make the wheat, you grind the wheat and make yourself some chapati, flat bread, and enjoy the chapati. So this is what the field is. So kshetram iva. So like a field, this body is born without, any capacity to do anything. The child cannot even flip around. It needs a lot of care. So the mother and the father, till the mind and till the body, with values, with knowledge, you have to do this, you must not. Knowledge is not self-knowledge here, it is just samanya jnanam of how to live, what to do, what not to do, how to live in this world. The mother and the father teach this child, and they till the body and they till the mind with all kinds of values and activities until the child learns to do it on its own. What? The tilling. Yeah. So you till the field, and in the same manner you do a lot of karma. And then what? After the karma is done, then the body becomes, a bhumi. Karma, first it is a karma bhumi, and then it becomes a place for dharma. Dharma here means punya. So then you reap the punya, just like you harvest the field. You sit and become a bhok. First you are a karta, and then you are a bhokta. I shouldn't say first. I mean, it's not sequential. So karta bhokta, it keeps going back and forth. It's not linear. It is sequential, because first karta, then bhokta, and then after that what? It is not linear. Karta bhokta keeps going. It's not that karta and then bhokta and then stop. No, back to karta, because whatever was bhogya padartha was there, whatever was there to be taken in was not enough, was not satisfactory. So back to tilling the field. So that is the meaning of the last derivation. Kshetram iva kshetram. So this body is indeed, a very apt metaphor, like a field, with which, one earns punya, with the help of which one earns one's punya. Just like the field becomes a place to earn the livelihood, then the punya also, it becomes a place to earn the punya. Then since we are going backwards, let us go backwards. Ksharanath iti kshetraha. Ksharanath means because of the fact that it disintegrates. The field also goes down in nutrition, and if you leave the land fallow for a few years, then it gets fossilized, and the silt gets washed away by the rain, and then it just becomes kind of clay, and then finally the clay becomes fossilized, and it becomes like a stone, almost stone-like, very difficult for things to grow, or it gets overtaken. If that doesn't happen, if it is good land, it gets overtaken by weeds and shrubs, and clearing that is a huge deal. So it goes to waste. So that is what it is called, ksharanath kshetraha. So here, ksharana means that which disintegrates. So the body is kshetra, the body disintegrates. Yeah. So shiryamana svabhavat shariram, the word shariram itself means that which is subject to disintegration. Oh, and that's the Sanskrit word for the body? Yes. Oh, I don't like it. Okay, use the word deha. Yeah, I like that. That's better. It's not better. Dahana yogyatvat deha. Because it is subject to being consigned to the flames. So depending on the mode of, disposal of the body, it has got some names. Shiryamana, that which disintegrates upon, upon being buried or whatever, after death. And that which is consigned to the flames after death. So this is the reality of the body. So ksharanath kshetraha. And then what? The third one from the bottom. Kshayat kshetraha. Kshaya means destruction. Yeah. Kshaya is, actually it's the other way around. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's close enough. So, ksharana is actually destruction. Kshaya is disintegration. So, kshaya is disintegration. And so Ksharana is destruction. So it's close enough. It's not. It's just more of a word, small little difference. So that which is subject to both disintegration and destruction. Yeah, you can please correct that, reverse it. And then finally, and this is the meaning that is most relevant to us. The first and the last meanings are the most relevant to our discussion here. And the last meaning was what? Kshetram iva kshetram, like a field, which you have seen in detail. And then the first meaning is extremely pertinent to us. Kshatat trayate, that which causes one to not fall. Iti kshetram, kshetra. Yeah, very beautiful meaning. So, kshetra is what? This body. How does this body cause us not to fall? And here that's why I said, first and foremost, we have to take what? The human body. Other bodies will be included later and in the other definitions. But in this definition, which is of greatest pertinence for our discussion here, we have to take the human body as fulfilling the definition kshatat trayate, that which protects from a big fall. Into what? Into the vat of samsara. Who is falling? Jiva is falling. But the body is protecting? Yes. How can the body protect? Because it is adhikari shariram. Because it's a body that is qualified for this knowledge. That's why we are only including the human body. Think about this. It is huge. So the fact that you have a human body itself has the potentially inoculates you against samsara, against catching the samsara influenza, flu. Yeah. So having this body itself is like a vaccination against samsara. No, but I haven't started to study yet. But you can. But I haven't started to find a guru. But you can. But I don't even know how to spell Shastra. But you can find out what it is. No, but I'm not born in a Hindu body. I was born in America and I have all these other, I don't know what this all is. But still you are here. That is the beauty of it. It draws you. It draws you. Because this desire is an uncalculated, uncultivated desire. It's built into all beings. And what is this desire? Moksha, freedom. Freedom from becoming something or the other. Freedom from sorrow, freedom from fear. And, just to be free. And moksha, in terms of all other animals, it expresses itself in the desire to be, the desire to live. That's why, all the biting things, these damshakas, damshaka means biting things. These biting things bite at night when no one is looking, or they bite, the leg so that you don't see where it is biting. And these are all deadly things, like deadly mosquitoes causing this dengue fever and all these things. And then the doctor you go there, and then the person goes, very feeble, weak, and full of what, full of all kinds of fever and everything. And then the doctor says, were you bitten by a mosquito? And the person will say, I don't remember. Because the mosquito doesn't take an appointment to bite. May I please bite you? Because you have some karma coming. It's not going to take permission. It's just going to bite. And when does it bite? Where does it bite? When you're not looking, it bites. And it bites you in a place where it is dark. This is what it is. And it hangs around in dark corners, and then it bites in dark places which are not lit by a source of light. So it will bite the underside of the arm, the back of the leg, like that. Why? because it knows that if it just bites, if it takes an appointment and comes and bites, you're going to say come. And as soon as it sits down, you're going to make it into chutney. Instead of it giving the person moksha, the person is going to give the mosquito instant moksha. Even the housefly has a desire to live forever. That's why it doesn't, you cannot catch a housefly. Very difficult to catch a housefly. Very difficult to catch a mosquito. Because it wants to live. That desire for immortality is there in all beings. And this is the most compelling, argument for vegetarianism. Why? Because, eat things that don't want to run away from you. Well, at the supermarket, the chicken doesn't want to run away because it is not chicken. Yeah. It's a chicken that has been killed and packaged in styrofoam. Anyway, let's not discuss that and cause ourselves aruchi. Aruchi means, we don't need to discuss that. It's enough. So this is, so that's why we eat things that don't run away from us. Because the fact that it runs away means it wants to live. That's why we stick with potatoes and eggplants and, things like that. And so now back to this discussion. This whole thing in terms of this human body we have to see. The word kshetra. Because the fact that one is blessed with the human body is a very big thing, because even though all the other animals have the desire to live and be immortal, so to speak, are wanting that limitlessness and they don't know how else, only in terms of their life, in their terms of their little life, they know they want to keep continuing that. Even though that's the case, in terms of this discussion, we have to take it in the human body. Because in the human body alone, it is a full-fledged, recognized desire for freedom from what? From this life of doing and then, cultivating the field, harvesting the field, cultivating the field, harvesting the field, cultivating the field. No, not enough rains, no harvest, no punya, and then harvesting the field something little bit. And then cultivating the field. Oh, but the next field, the field next to me, they have a tractor. Now, these bullocks, bye-bye. I also need a tractor because I have to keep up with the Joneses, over there, that kshetra that has tractors. I have to do all this. I have to do more, do, and become a doer. And nobody wants to become a doer. The doer is for the sake of becoming an enjoyer. So doing, enjoying, doing, suffering, doing, enjoying, doing, suffering, papa, punya, action, reaction, action, results of action. This just is there. But the human sharira is fit for another kind of cultivation. The cultivation of adhikaritvam, number one, cultivation of what? The qualifications to study this knowledge. And the qualifications to study this knowledge are a calm, resolved mind which can be cultivated. Viveka, the discrimination between that which is finite, which is everything that I do, and the infinite, that which I want to be as a result of doing, which is not going to come. You can't produce the infinite. That is the viveka here. Discrimination. Vairagya, letting go, having the courage to let go of the finite. Mumukshutvam, an intense desire to be free, and to convert that desire into knowledge. A few other things are needed. Guru is needed, Shraddha is needed, an attitude of devotional surrender to the teaching is needed. To the teaching and to the microphone which is giving out the teaching. The teaching is the book and called the Veda, and the microphone which amplifies the teaching and reaches it to your ears. That is what is called Guru, teacher. So there is a Shraddha, a devotional reverence to the teaching and the teacher. And then finally what? Samadhanam, the ability to focus single-mindedly on this and a few other things, the non-reactivity, etc. This field is should these are the seeds that should be, sown in this kshetra of the human body. So the human body is cultivable. Either you can be a doer and cultivate all kinds of silly desires and make them grow big and then work hard and then try to get them, or you can sow the seeds of adhikaritvam. Why? Because there is free will. You can choose either. Yeah. This is very, the first one is an important choice. To cultivate these values, is an important choice. Kathopanishad puts this very beautifully. Duramete viparite vishuchi vidya cha vidya jnataha. So that which is known as vidya, knowledge, and that which is known as avidya, the opposite of that, self-ignorance. Here are what? Duramete. These two are very far away from each other. In fact, they are divergent paths. Viparite, vishuchi, vishuchyau. I mean, we have to take it as vishuchyau, but it is a poetic license of the Veda. So these two paths are what? Not just divergent, but opposite. They lead to opposite ends. They lead to opposite ends. So, ete, vishuchyau, these two paths are what? They are not parallel. They are not going to the, they're not going in the same direction. They are not one and the same. And they are not like a fork in the road, then it's a little detour and it comes back and joins. No, these two paths are far away from one another. As far away as possible. Heaven and earth difference. So the distance is too much. Okay, they are far, so what? They are far but equal. No, they are far and away from each other, and they are opposite of one another. So they are far and they are opposite. Very interesting. Viparite vishuchyau. So the duramete viparite vishuchi. So what are the paths called? One is called vidya, another one is called avidya. So if you choose vidya, if you choose self-knowledge, you are on a track that looks very different from the people who have not chosen self-knowledge, says the Kathopanishad very, very eloquently. Very beautiful, so eloquent and so clear. There's nothing more to, you can't really, distort this. There's no other interpretation that you can give. There's nothing more to, interpret when it is so clear. So if you follow the path of avidya, meaning one is already born in avidya, so it means more of the same, status quo, then where is it going to lead? You keep walking on it, and then there is a bored dead end. And you are bored. Yeah, there is no, you are bored and then it's a dead end. So there is a bored dead end at the end of it. That's all it is. Or, we have to have a few more choices. Or it's a path that goes in circles. And the fifth time around, you say, this looks familiar. Am I going somewhere? Nah, look, let's just look at all the stalls and the booths and little, what is that? This game where you throw a ring around the teddy bear in the mela, in the fair, and then they give you the teddy bear. Every country has some things like this, some entertainment, and then then there's one big pumpkin and a weighing machine. And the pumpkin is kept, and without lifting the pumpkin, just by eyesight, by eyeing the pumpkin, you have to say how much it weighs, and then they will weigh it. And then if it comes anywhere between 5 pounds, either way, they give you a prize. So all these are so exciting. These are all little activities in samsara. So one forgets that one has been through this many times. In this life itself, done the same things with the same consequences which one doesn't like, and then that has not, that has not done anything to remove this addictive habit of keeping on going. So the second road is, the second example of this avidya road. First example, it ends in a dead end, causing disappointment. Second example, more likely to happen, is that it is keeping on going round and round and round all the time. I mean, this is the thing. And the third example, it lands in a ditch. When the person falls down, oh, save me, help me, Guru, suddenly remembers Guru. And then suddenly remembers Shastra, next life, better luck, because next life they have the wherewithal to go on the other path. So that's the thing. The other path, what is the other path? Vidya. It's a path that is well lit, well trodden by all gurus who were students before. This is important. All gurus who were students before, it is well trodden, and then what does it do? Its specialty is that it loops around back to yourself. Doesn't go in circles. It takes you back to yourself. It leads you to Bhagavan, Vishnuho, Tad Vishnuho Paramam Padam. Elsewhere in the Kathopanishad, that path is, described as, when discussing the Ratha Kalpana. So these are the two, so it is very, very clear. The choices are clear. But still one chooses avidya. Why? It's not a choice. Neither of them are choices. That I am hardwired for self-knowledge. It's not a choice. It just is like that. That this body is made for this teaching. It's for no other reason. That's why it is called Kshetra. Because it stops one from falling into the other path, repeatedly. It protects one from the path which is actually which opens up like a sinkhole. The other path, another possibility for the path of avidya, you're walking on it and then it suddenly, there are all these sinkholes that are there, certain energetic grids underneath the earth, and then if you build too much on it, like too much cement and everything, suddenly the earth, burps. And when the Mother Earth burps, she creates a huge sinkhole. And, 200-year-old house, swallowed. Some other things around it, swallowed. And where it goes, oh my God, so deep, sinkhole. So another example of this path is that it leads to a big sinkhole along, and only saving grace is that when you go down the sinkhole, there are other souls, kindred souls, who have decided to start a support group, samsara support group. Not support group from samsara, support group in samsara. Oh no, this terrible thing happened to me. And the other one says, oh, wait till you hear my story. It's even more terrible. So people wallowing in their distresses and, and self-pity. Without really, they are rehearsing the distress, not trying to reverse the distress. So the sinkhole leads to codependent kind of relationships, addictive and codependent relationships, coming out of which is a great challenge to come out of such a sinkhole. Whereas this body, if it is used to go on the Vidya Marga, especially if the correct choices are made, it protects from falling into samsara repeatedly. So one doesn't fall. One is very much, it protects from the fall. So you see why this first meaning, which is the Kshetragjñaḥ, is a very important meaning for us. Very, very important, because this is why it is called Kshetra. Kshetragjñaḥ iti Kshetraha. And then what? Now who is Kshetragjñaḥ? Kshetra we have seen in detail. Who is this Kshetragjñaḥ? The one who knows this body is Kshetram, is Kshetragjñaḥ. Beautiful. The owner of the field, the knower of the field, and most important for us, the one who knows the field is not the field. The one who knows that this body is the field, but I am not the field. So the one that has a discriminative intellect and a distance, a cognitive distance, an inner space between the field and its knower. So the knower is Sakshi Chaitanya. The Chaitanya, that same consciousness obtaining as the witness. Let us look at here the thing. It says Kshetragjñaḥ, the mantra. Yeah, Kshetragjñaḥ. And then, it is, we still have to discuss a few things about the Kshetragjñaḥ, but I want to go a little further. Sankalpa adhyavasaya lakshanaha or abhimana lingaha. Sankalpa adhyavasaya. Sankalpa means a kind of a surface decision. Sankalpa, some intention, but a surface decision. That sankalpa can very quickly become vikalpa. So at the very shallow level of the mind, when one is weighing various options, it is called sankalpa and vikalpa. So sankalpa here includes vikalpa. So who is this Kshetragjñaḥ? The Kshetragjñaḥ who is characterized by the ability to have these shallow considerations on the shallow surface level of the mind, called manaha, sankalpa vikalpatmakam, and then the one who also has adhyavasaya abhimana lingaha. So the one that has the capacity of resolving. Resolving. So not just having a, moment of uncertainty. Sankalpa, changeling. Sankalpa is changeling in terms of the mind with a moment of uncertainty. No, this one is what? Is also capable of resolution. So, and these two are purposely said along with the word Kshetragjñaḥ, because the Kshetragjñaḥ alone has the ability to tap into the resolved mind and resolve the mind, make the decision to choose the path of vidya, not avidya. All this is just hidden in the meaning. We have to see this. And thankfully the word is there in the Shastra, in the Bhagavad Gita, so we can bring that here to shed light on this. So the Kshetragjñaḥ, who is the one who knows the field? The one who knows that this body is fit for knowledge. That is Kshetragjñaḥ. And the one who has the resolution to veer this body, mind complex, away from avidya and all its machinations, all its what's its name, all its activities, ignorance-based activities, and to direct it and make it abhimukha, direct it towards self-knowledge, is Kshetragjñaḥ. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana. Arjuna is told, what? Make your buddhi decisive. That is called vyavasaya. Here it is called adhyavasaya. Same thing. Nishchayatmika buddhi is Kshetragjñaḥ. So the one who has the potential, the capacity to have a mind that is resolute in its decision to study this knowledge, because it knows what else is there. What else is there? There is no other possibility. Because otherwise, what is the, Dura mete viparite vishuchi, otherwise you go on some kind of a tangent. The path of avidya is a tangent that repeats itself. And it's a sinkhole in which you fall. That's why this body is given. Whereas the dogs and cats and rhinos, they don't have a choice. They are made and they are born in the path of avidya, because they don't have adhikari sharira, only a bhoga sharira. A sharira for the sake of bhoga, just to reap out old papas and punyas. They don't have the decision to make to come and, sit this side. They don't have that. And even if their owner brings them on the path of, knowledge, they may sit and listen to the class, but they are not able to understand anything. They are just sitting because their owner is sitting. No other reason, So they are not able to understand. because that chance is gone in this life. It is a bhoga sharira, whereas the kshetra in terms of the human life is what? Yoga sharira. There is a capable of joining what? The distance between falsifying, joining here in the sense of uniting with Bhagavan by falsifying that there is a distance through self-knowledge. So therefore, the one who is got sankalpa adhyavasaya lakshanaha, so the one who has this capacity, that is kshetragjña. And then, one more word is there, abhimana lingaha. Abhimana lingaha means the one who is what? The one who is got this I notion. And here, we have to see where is this I notion. Where is this I notion? What is this I notion identified with? Is the I notion identified with the body, mind, sense complex? Then it is not kshetragjña. Is the I notion identified with the path of avidya, because that's where all the nice baubles and blings are there, and I want to, it's shiny and it is a well traversed path by all other samsaris. Is that what it is? No, that is not where the I notion is. Where is the I notion? The I notion is firmly, in the knower, not in the kshetra. The I notion has been walked over to Sakshi Chaitanya, the witness consciousness that obtains in the body as I am the owner of this body, I am the knower of this body. That I, the one who has that capacity. These are, so the word Kshetragjña has been unfolded by Maitri Upaniṣad in his particular ways. Sankalpa adhyavasaya lakshanaha and abhimana lingaha. These are the two words, which are with reference to the mind. And the definition of Kshetragjña here is made with reference to the mind, because the word Jnaha itself is called knower, and knowing happens in the mind. So, Manaha, Buddhi and Ahankara are all talked about. So, Manaha, the one which is, wondering, what should I do? Should I go for this? Nah, I don't think so. What a waste of time, every day sitting and taking one online class. Nah, I have better things to do. So the one who is, but, this knowledge is wonderful. Besides, one of my friends is taking this. Somebody I know is from my hometown is taking this. So maybe I should also take this. This is what is called Sankalpa Lakshanaha. Still deciding. And then, no. I'm going to make the time in my life to do this. Adhyavasaya lakshanaha. Who is making the time? I. Who is this I? The one that is ahankara, the I notion that is struggling to not identify with the body, mind, sense complex. The I notion which really is Bhagavan. Yes. The I notion is Bhagavan, I is Bhagavan, everything is Bhagavan. So the I notion which is struggling to disidentify from the body, mind, sense complex and identify as the witness consciousness, as the Sakshi, as the witness of everything that's happening in the body and the mind, and and that Sakshi is revealed as, what? Prajapati. A few other things to say about Kshetragjña. We will see that now. So this Kshetragjña, back to the Bhagavad Gita, idam shariram. So the two definitions are there of Kshetragjña. First one is, yo yat veti tam ahuhu kshetragjñah iti tadvidaha. So the tadvidaha, the knower of tat, which is here, that body, that kshetra is called kshetragjña. Simple grammatical definition he gives. So we've seen that already. And in terms of the body, that which obtains as the witness consciousness, one meaning of kshetragjña. And the second verse blows the mind away. Kshetragjñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragnyayo jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. Beautiful. This is what is Mahavakya. So suddenly it's not just the individual, the consciousness obtaining in the individual body-mind complex that is lighting up this body-mind complex. No. That is the one who is aware of this consciousness, the one who identifies with this consciousness. It's not just that. That is just Tvampada Vichara. That is just the inquiry into the word you. But who is this you? Kshetragjñaḥ chapi mam vidhi. Kshetragjñam is me, Bhagavan declares. Kshetragjñam is nothing but Bhagavan. Who is Kshetragjña? Not the one who knows this body, mind, sense complex, but the one who knows and as well abides in all bodies, all minds. And here, at the second level, we can bring in all life forms. But in terms of the individual Kshetragjña, the one who knows it is a human body. But here, Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata, the diamond in the Bharata lineage of kings. Arjuna, the know me as the truth of the Kshetragjña. The Kshetragjña is nothing but me, because that awareness, that consciousness is nothing but my truth, and that awareness pervades in all bodies and all minds as myself alone, not Amsha. The whole of me pervades every body, every mind, every sense, everything it pervades. And this is what you have to know. And so more we will see next week. Tomorrow morning class, back to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Om Purnamadas Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaga Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.